Hi, good morning. Hi, Deb,
Good.
how are you?
Very well. How are you
Good.
going?
I'm good. I'm good. Loving the bit of the sunshine coming through today.
Yes, beautiful
Mm,
morning.
yeah. So today we thought we would talk about the 3 steps in growing or building a successful bookkeeping business. So we see the 3 critical stages of the business. So, what are those steps that will help you build your bookkeeping business to a successful business? So I think let's start with the first step that Deb and I are wanting to talk about today is around the sales and marketing and the systems that you need. So to build your business, to grow your business, it's very important to have a referral source,
Mm.
which starts with some sales and marketing strategies. Deb, what did you used to use in your business? Just
Yes, well, yes, the referrals are the biggest, were the biggest source of business for my business. Um, in these days, there's a lot of digital marketing that obviously your website, LinkedIn profile, Facebook, the social media kind of things as well. But you'll never replace, I think, those relationships that you build over time. And that's via networking, whether that's virtual networking that lots of people are doing now instead of live meetings, virtual meetings with accountants, telling everyone that you know, that it's a simple step of just telling your family and friends, everyone that you know, that you're actually open for business.
And building a system around that too. Like, let's start systemizing all of our business, as that's what we recommend all of the time. So even systemizing the marketing so that you can turn it off when you are full up or not ready to continue to take clients on, and then turn it back on when you are ready to do that. So creating those strategies and building a system around it for it as well.
Yeah, that was a really important thing for me because I, like most bookkeepers, don't like marketing. And so as what normally happens, if you don't like doing something, then you won't do it. And when I was working with Peter Cook and he was my business coach, he discovered that about me, that I would just be too busy to, and you're busy yourself with lots of other things. Or it might be that you're actually spending time creating the content or creating that website and what you're going to put in there and what are you going to call yourself, and you spend a lot of time trying to build the collateral without actually getting it out there and doing it. And that's a big roadblock for most bookkeepers. And one of the strategies that we put in place was to systematize what I was doing. So I learned that to get version 1 done was all you needed to do. It was never going to be perfect. It's quite a common and significant roadblock that most bookkeepers come up against, is that because we are perfectionists, and which is great, that's what you want for the bookkeeping, but to actually grow your business as a perfectionist, it just stops all the growth, or it certainly inhibits the growth. So I would be spending time, no, I've just got to tweak that little bit of a word there, or that picture is not quite right. No, I haven't got the mission statement perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. That would be my number 1 tip. Your marketing collateral, the website that you create, any business cards, business name, or whatever, does not have to be perfect. Just get version 1 done. That would be my biggest tip.
And that would also relate to the systems, the back end of your bookkeeping business as well. No matter if you are just starting out and got 1 or 2 clients, it's really important to have those systems in place, your checklists and templates, and so that you can, manage your workflow. Or
Yeah.
if you have got, 100 clients, the systems behind it, the foundations need to be set up, properly, systematically. And again, version 1, just get version 1 out. You are not going to have the perfect set of checklists and templates from the first rollout. You'll always be tweaking them, and just creating more systems. Everything that you do, that you repeat, create a system for, create a checklist, create a template.
Yeah. And this is directly in line with Michael Gerber, his original book, The E-Myth Revisited. And if anyone's read the book that I co-authored with him and Peter Cook called The E-Myth Bookkeeper, you'll know a little bit about my story. For those that haven't read that, the one piece of information that Pete gave me when in the very first meeting was, if you took the systems that you had in your head and documented those and then trained another bookkeeper to follow those, do you think that would work? And I thought about that. Yeah. Theoretically, I could see how that worked. The problem I had at the time when I was started working with him is that I was already full up. I was working nights and weekends, and it was really crazy, which is kind of the next step. If you like, as you grow your business, you start putting those systems in place, start documenting. The earlier you do that, by the way, there's another tip for you. The earlier you start documenting the systems, and what I mean by that is when you are working, doing a BAS, doing an IAS, what do you do it every month? How do you reconcile bank accounts? Those sorts of basics steps are documented, as Katrina said, in a checklist. You get that stuff out of your head. This is how I do this. And even if you don't have staff, the earlier, as I mentioned, the earlier you start with this process, the easier it will be. It usually means that you've got a handful of clients and not 100 clients, and you're not ready to recruit. So you've got a little bit more time to spend on this. Do it early. Start processing those systems that you've got in your head, client-specific instructions, get them into some sort of checklist or workflow software. And then when you are at the stage where you're starting to fill up and you're ready to recruit, you've got those systems in place.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next step is finding that right person. So again, having a system to find that person, being able to know how to advertise for somebody, know who it is that you do require, know how to review those resumes, how to do skills testing. Like you need to be able to interview those people and test those bookkeepers coming through, so that you don't hire somebody that's going to waste a lot of your time and money in putting the wrong person on. And we all know that, we've probably all experienced it, putting the wrong person on in the wrong job and getting a really poor result. So that's our second step, is systemizing your HR, knowing who it is, how to test them, and then onboarding them as well, creating that induction.
And
the next,
I'll just one little tip there. When you're creating a skills test, again, we're talking about version 1. So at the very least, if we can't do too many face-to-face things at the moment, get them on a Zoom meeting, get them to show you their screen, ask them to walk you around Xero, ask them to walk you around QBO, ask them some basic bookkeeping questions, get a feel of their history and their bookkeeping journey. So don't take for granted don't assume that what they say in a resume is actually what is real, because that was the big mistake that I made. So find some way of getting out of them what they know about the software and how the bookkeeping is done. How do you reconcile GST? How do you do your month end? What do you do if there's old unreconciled transactions in the bank account? Ask them those sorts of questions. That would be version 1 of your skills test.
Yeah, that's right. And then the third stage is have a system or a mechanism to be able to train those staff. So have like a training program or a manual to know what best practice is for your business. So everybody is going to be repeating the same the same work in the same way. So we know what our expected results are. So, creating that system, that manual for each one of your clients and for your staff as well, and that mechanism for training them.
Yeah, training was a killer for me in my business before I had a documented training program. And it took months for me to sit beside the person and say, no, we don't do it like that. We do it like this. And it was fixing up their mistakes. And even this is even when you recruit a good bookkeeper, there is still an element of training that is required, because you will want to make sure they're following your processes. So you've got a standard way that certain things are done. You can't have all the bookkeepers, even if they're really good, going about doing the work in their own way, because it's a nightmare to audit. So develop a training program that you can get them to complete actually in their own time, ideally, so before they start working for you, so they can actually hit the ground running.
Yeah, ideal. And just so that you know that Debbie and I are actually holding a webinar next week around these 3 steps of building a successful bookkeeping business that you're invited to. So it is on Tuesday at 12 o'clock Melbourne time, and there will be an invitation. I think it's in the events already in this group. So just move on over to the events area and click into that. They'll be able to register the webinar for that, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Awesome.
Have a great afternoon.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.